We are joined today by chefs Anita Lo and April Bloomfield. Anita Lo is the chef and owner of Annisa, which opened in 2000 right nearby in Greenwich Village. She appeared on Top Chef Masters, finishing in the final 4 of 24 chefs. And Chef Lo released her first cookbook, Cooking Without Borders, in October 2011. And April Bloomfield is the executive chef and co-owner of the Michelin-starred The Spotted Pig, the Breslin, and the John Dory restaurants. She released her first cookbook, A Girl and Her Pig, in April of this year. Please join me in welcoming chefs Anita Lo and April Bloomfield. Well, thank you so much for being here at Google. I was telling some friends about this panel over the weekend, and interestingly, a few people asked me, they're like, oh, so you're doing a panel on women chefs? I was like, well, no, we're doing a panel with a few chefs who happen to be women. And if people are wondering, why did we bring you in together, it was for a few reasons. I mean, there's other reasons to bring you in, besides the fact that you're both amazing chefs, that you have incredible cookbooks that have come out that I hope many of you have been able to buy and enjoy. You also have restaurants in the neighborhood right nearby at Google's offices, at which I hope to be able to get a table anytime I want. So there's always that secret agenda in all of our curating here at Google. And also you happen to be great friends, so we thought that would just be a really great conversation. But I thought it really raised an interesting question about gender in the kitchen and the fact that people would react that way and say, like, oh, it's a panel of women chefs. Because if we had 2 guys up here, they wouldn't say, well, it's a panel of male chefs. And I was wondering, I imagine you get that a lot as 2 of the women at the forefront of your industries. How do you react to that when people say, well, we'd like you on a panel of women chefs? If I was calling this panel skirt steak, what would you have changed, your approach to coming?
I don't know. I kind of, I don't know. I don't think about the men and women thing very much. I just kind of do my thing, and I just, kind of Anita being here as my friend, I don't see Anita as a woman, well, I do, but, sorry, I didn't mean it like that, but
she has secrets about me.
But, I just don't think about it, so actually when you said that, I was like, oh, okay, now I'm thinking about it, but...
Yeah, I think I've been forced to think about it, and, we're constantly being asked, about, because we're such a minority that I'm just constantly being asked about it. And I think it's an interesting question. It's something, it's something, it's something to think about. Do you, yes, you always want to just be a chef and be recognized as a chef, as a good chef. But at the same time, there is that discrepancy, and it's interesting to think about why.
Well, I would love to know about how you each got interested in cooking. If you can just tell us a little bit about that, about your your journey. You can get to this point.
Okay. I don't know. I came from a food-obsessed family. I'm Chinese, which is, if you're Chinese, pretty much you're food-obsessed. We were always talking about the next meal and traveling just to go eat something, and I just always loved food, and I was trying to learn how to cook for myself in college, and I just sort of became obsessed with it, and I was studying French at the time. In order to immerse myself in the language, I went to France, and I ended up falling in love with that culture, and ended up going to cooking school there. So.
Well, my mother wasn't a very good cook, so I kind of realized that I needed to learn to cook, I think, as a way to kind of survive. But my if your mum's a bad cook, you'll understand. But I really went to school because I didn't get into my chosen profession, which I wanted to do, which was to be a policewoman in the Metropolitan Police Force. So I had to do something to fall back on, and my 2 sisters at the time were at cooking school. So, I just I was 3 weeks away from leaving school, and my mum sat me down and was like, what are you going to do? So, I said, well, maybe I'll just cook, do 2 years, and then reapply for the police force. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Fortunately, I've had a great journey, getting where I am, and that's how it all started for me.
So I'm glad you didn't become part of the police force. I think everybody here would agree that the Spotted Pig was a much better choice. So how did you actually find yourself at the Spotted Pig? That's a pretty interesting partnership with Mario Batali and Ken Friedman, and I think a lot of people may not know that that the three of you were in that together.
Basically, I was working in a restaurant in England called the River Café. Fantastic place. I really enjoyed it, working there. If I hadn't got this opportunity in New York, I'd probably still be there now. I was working there. I'd gone as far as I could, and I got this call from a guy called Ken Friedman, who's my now business partner at the Spotted Pig, and he invited me over for a weekend. I came over, met Mario Batali, ate in like 10 restaurants in 2 days, kind of wobbled back on the plane, after a huge, meal. And I took the job. And I'm really happy to be here. I love New York, love the people, food.
Well, you have this incredible knack, it seems, for opening these kind of off the beaten path little places that become real destinations. So can you tell us a little bit about how that happened? Was that Mario Batali and Ken Friedman knowing the neighborhoods and sort of deciding this was where we needed a gastropub in the West Village?
Well, it helped that Ken lived opposite the Spotted Pig. So that kind of, worked because he kind of knew that area. But, we've just opened a restaurant 2 years ago called the Breslin on 29th and Broadway. And, that was a risk. So none of us knew that area very well. But we got this great opportunity to work with the Ace Hotel and Alex, who, kind of is the founder of the Ace Hotel brand. And we just kind of took a leap of faith and we kind of felt like it would work. And thank God it did. And opened another restaurant right there too. So.
And what about Annisa? Can you tell us a little bit about how that came to be? It's been open now over 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. I had been the chef of a restaurant called Morezzi on Fifth Avenue. And it was a restaurant that didn't survive. And I was doing Pan-Asian cuisine there. And I realized that I really wanted to just do contemporary American. I didn't want to be defined by that, and because that's really who I am. I've been all over. I grew up in the Midwest, and I'm French trained. So I realized that in order to get full creative freedom, I needed to open my own place, and so I met my partner. Well, my business partner, Jen, had been my sous chef a long time ago, and we got together and found this little place in the West Village and made it happen.
Right. Yeah. Well, so now Annisa tragically suffered a pretty major fire a few years ago, and during that time you went on Top Chef Masters, which we, as we discussed, was your number 4, which was pretty amazing. How did that experience change your life or your cooking or?
Actually, we filmed Top Chef Masters before the fire, and it actually aired like 2 weeks after the fire. So it was kind of doubly tragic because I thought I'd missed that whole wave of publicity and driving business to the restaurant. We were closed for 9 months. I thought I had lost the restaurant on 3 occasions just because it took forever to get the insurance money. And then the insurance money wasn't enough. And also, at the time, we had to renegotiate our lease. So, it was really hard. I came back. I don't think it changed my cooking. I think I'm still cooking the same way. It made me appreciate my restaurant more. It made me appreciate my staff. I got, every single one of my staff came back to open that restaurant except for one. And so I was just, I just was so grateful.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Do you feel that Top Chef Masters and being on that show has changed anything? I mean, you said that you couldn't kind of ride the wave of that publicity in terms of the actual restaurant, but.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, business is, people are still coming in from it. It's so interesting. Because it aired so long ago, and I guess it keeps re-airing.
Yeah, it's good to get that kind of second wave.
Yeah. So.
And April, have you ever thought about competing on a show like that?
No, I'm not a very competitive person. you know, I like to just do what I do, and you know, just kind of hope that people like it. And I don't like that competitive energy that you get. No, not really. I did Iron Chef once, and I didn't know whether I should do it or not. So I asked my staff. I said, "Look, what shall I do it?" And they're all like, "Yeah, do it." But when I got there on the day, I was like super nervous, just like now actually. I was a complete wreck, and I got to the kitchen stadium, and it was pretty daunting. But then I saw my staff walk in to sit down, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. I was about to like run out the door. Anyway, I managed to kind of focus. It's funny how when you start cooking, it's very natural, so you kind of feel comfortable, and you kind of get to this place where you're happy. So that kind of, as soon as the timer went off, it was kind of like, it was almost like meditating. It was like, okay, this is what I have to do. So actually, I won. I managed to kick Michael Simon's butt.
Nice.
On olives, and he's Greek, so that's kind of a big part of it. But I was very happy after it was finished.
We'll just end on a high note, just to know
exactly,
I won. I'm done. So talking about the books, you both obviously have these incredible books that just came out somewhat recently, and I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about the inspiration for each of your books. I know a pig, obviously, for Chef April is a big inspiration, since you're swathed in that massive beast.
I mean, I love everything pork, but the inspiration was pretty much, there's a lot of people that go through life that don't acknowledge where they've learned stuff or who they've been influenced by, and I definitely didn't want to be or become one of those people. So it was kind of like a nod and a thank you to the people that I've learned from, and they've pretty much inspired me and made me the person I am and the chef I am. So that was my vision for the book, and hopefully that comes across. I didn't want to just do a restaurant book, so this was kind of personal for me to do.
Yeah, I've been wanting to write this book for almost 2 decades. I was turned down by agents. I went through 3 different agents. And the reason why I wanted to write this book was because it was about identity, and it was about what it means to be American, and how do you define American cuisine, and I think a lot of people just didn't understand what that was, and didn't understand what contemporary American cuisine was, and I think a lot of people see me as just Asian, which is obvious, but culturally, I'm very diverse. And, I wanted to get that across in this book.
So what are each of your favorite recipes in your books? If you had to pick one of your children.
You have to stand by all of them, I think, yeah.
Is there one that you would recommend that Googlers try in their tiny New York kitchens? We don't have a staff, and
I love my nanny's chicken paprikash. I grew up with that. I think it was one of the most delicious things growing up, and it is so easy to make. And it's a great, maybe not now, but it's a great winter dish.
Nice. Yeah. I think oatmeal, if you guys like oatmeal. I'm very passionate about my oatmeal or porridge. You should definitely try that. It's super easy, actually, and it takes like 25 minutes to cook. Just start it on a cold, crisp morning, before you venture off to the office. It's like perfect. And actually you can make it and then reheat it the next day too. So yeah.
Have you cooked from each other's books?
I haven't. No. It's a fallacy that chefs cook at home. So yeah. I haven't managed to cook anything yet.
Well, so Chef Lo, you had mentioned your nanny's paprikash, and I was surprised to read about the Hungarian influence in your cuisine, not because I didn't know about your sort of global influences, but that was sort of an unexpected influence from my perspective in reading more about your work. And I'm curious if there's other unexpected influences in your work, in your cooking.
Yeah, I think it's, I think it's interesting that I think Japanese cuisine is probably the biggest influence from Asia that I have in my book. I know very little about Chinese cuisine, and I'm constantly being asked to represent that. And and I love Chinese cuisine, but it's like a vast country. And there's so many different cuisines within it, and not growing up not speaking the language. My parents didn't teach me Chinese because it was the 60s and they wanted me to assimilate. So a lot of the names of dishes are all Chinese, and they're really just about the ingredient. So it's sort of a hard study. I don't know if that's I have a lot of influences. So yeah.
What about you?
I think my influences come from mostly Europe, a little bit of Spanish, a lot of Italian, because I was very influenced by Rose and Ruth from the River Café. So, I do things that are quite layered and rustic. So, lots of pan roasting and slow roasting, pot roasting, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So what challenges you now? I mean, you have 3 restaurants now, and you've conquered Top Chef Masters, and you both are kind of the pinnacles of your career. What really inspires and challenges each of you in your work now?
Just to keep pushing, keep motivating myself, learning new things. Traveling is a big influence on me. So making sure that I get different kind of flavors and meet different people and eat different food.
Yeah, managing is always hard. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest challenge on a day-to-day basis. You always want your staff to be happy and to be motivated. I still love to cook, so.
Okay, so I have a few fill in the blanks for you. I'm just going to give you a little phrase and ask you just to finish my sentence for me. You ready? Why are you laughing? We haven't even started yet. Okay, ready?
Right.
Nose to tail eating is?
Good for your tummy. I have no idea.
Fusion cooking is?
All fusion cooking is, delicious.
Junk food is?
Delicious in moderation.
Food bloggers are?
Lovely people.
My favorite thing about New York City is?
Diversity.
The weather. I like the weather. Better than
You're
England.
coming out of London, yeah. A food trend I hate is?
There are no food trends that I hate.
Yeah.
A food trend I love is?
Meatballs. I like meatballs. Who doesn't like meatballs?
I'd call that a trend. I think it's, yeah. Food trucks are?
I'm not answering that one.
Hey, you guys have a food truck here, don't you?
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
And it
Like
goes,
entries.
it drives.
It just drives to the office? No, it doesn't really. It just stays in one place. It's more cosmetic, but I think it does function.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
But we don't take it on the streets and
Right,
stuff.
right.
Pretty much stays here.
Yeah, it looked very clean.
Yeah, it's very clean. Reality chef competitions are?
Stressful.
I was going to say the same thing, and I haven't done.
Well, you did do one.
Well,
Iron Chef. Okay, so I have a few other rapid fires, and then we'll open it up to the audience for questions. So, what do you eat when no one is looking?
An entire bag of Doritos.
Ooh, nice.
Did I say that?
Like that.
What is your favorite restaurant that people should know about?
Michelin in Gramercy Park.
And what should they order there?
They should have the lumiconi, the stuffed lumiconi. He does it with broccoli rabe and sausage, and it's just the most divine thing. And they're like this big, and you can pop the whole one in your mouth. It's delicious.
Nice. What do you eat when you're in the walk-in?
Fruit.
Yeah. Raw scallops.
Raw.
Yeah.
Like pop them in
Yeah.
like candy. To each its own, you know. If I came to your house for dinner, I'm not angling for an invitation, but I'm free Thursday, in case you're wondering. What would you make?
Pasta. Yeah.
Well, I'm on it.
With a bit of pig face, you know, a little bit of
A little bit of
rosemary.
pasta with pig face.
I don't know, roast chicken?
What do you cook to impress your mom?
Oh. Anything will impress my mom. Sorry, Mom, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
And what's in your fridge right now?
Lots of condiments. Lots and lots of condiments.
Yeah.
Beer, sake,
Yeah. Mhm.
beer, sake, and
Lots of condiments.
the bottle of wine you brought over.
I sense a theme. Well, I would love to open it up to questions from the audience, and we have 2 mics set up. We are recording for YouTube, so if you could go to one of the mics, that would be great.
Hi, so I just wanted to say I do love this pig, and I too would, if there's a special way to get reservations, I'd love it. But, so I noticed that both of your cookbooks you each had co-authors. I'm curious if you could comment on you know, how that plays in, and you know, kind of where the roles divide, and you know, what it's like running with someone. Are they professional chefs? Are you getting them more for the writing, that sort of thing?
I tried to write my own book for 2 decades, and then I realized I didn't have time. It took me 2 decades. But, you know, I wrote maybe a quarter to a third of it, and then I sat down with my author for, you know, once a week and talked about recipes and et cetera, and came up with head notes for each recipe that way. Yeah, it was a lovely experience. Charlotte Druckmann is an incredible writer. She is incredibly smart and is very knowledgeable about food.
I'm the same as Anita. I don't think I would have ever attempted to write a cookbook without JJ. He was a great partner to have. He loved to eat, which was really a great thing. He could eat all my recipe testing. But he's a great writer, and he really captured my voice. We worked well. It was pretty much like a marriage, you know. We spent a lot of time together, and we, you know, enjoyed it so much. We're going to do another book, which is great. So we're in that process now, and it's just, yeah, it's kind of, we feel really good together, and we're like good buddies, and yeah.
What's the theme of the next book?
Can anybody guess? Vegetables.
Nice.
Yeah, vegetables.
Awesome.
Because
I can't wait for this.
So you'll be
Yeah.
draped in carrots and beets.
Yes, yeah. We were thinking of having like a big, you know, beetroot or something.
Hi, thank you both for coming. So April, I am engaged to a man from Yorkshire.
Oh, you did?
So I did do it. I am.
Lovely.
And thank you very much for offering a full English breakfast at the Breslin. We frequent that very often. So the times when Russell is really kind of missing home and missing England, what can I make from the book that might help that?
That's a good question. What do I have in there that's here? Oh,
I flipped through it. I saw a few little English things in there.
Can you remind? Oh, Devils on Horseback. Now I've all forgotten what's in my book. But Devils on Horseback, they're very classic English. It's basically a rehydrated prune that we rehydrate in English breakfast tea. Can't get more English than that. And then it's stuffed with a pickled pear, and then it's wrapped in bacon. And then you just kind of toast it under the broiler until it gets all crispy and caramelized. The porridge, very English too. What else? The meat pie, yeah. The beef and Stilton pie actually is a very classic English dish. Delicious, very easy to make.
I'll get on it. Thank you so much. And then real quick, Anita, I don't know if you know, but Taco Bell came out with this like Dorito card thing. I don't know. I haven't tried yet. It's like their number one thing, but just you talked about.
I was intrigued. I saw the commercial. I was totally intrigued. Yeah.
It sounds amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen
Yeah.
the commercials too, and it's tempting.
Thanks again for being here. It's really inspirational to have you here and to listen to all of your stories. I was wondering, other than the cookbook for you, April, is there anything else on the horizon for either of you that you're able to share with us today?
I think there's a few projects in the work, but nothing I can divulge. But unfortunately,
We won't tell anyone.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, hopefully they'll pan out and be exciting. I'm very excited about the projects.
And you'll come back and tell us all about them.
Oh, yes,
And then we can put it out there.
Yeah.
Anita, do you have anything else coming up that's on the horizon you can share?
Not at the moment. I'm focusing on this. I just bought out my partner this in the past 2 years, and focusing on Annisa.
Awesome. Thank you.
Again, thank you for being here. Chef Lo, I know when you were on Top Chef Masters, you did that for charity, and I know that you've also done you've been at various charitable events with your cooking, like the garden party, which is tonight. Can you talk a little bit about philanthropy and what motivates you?
You know, I think food is always about sharing, and it's just a shame that it's not being distributed to everybody. Like it's so a lot of the food charities are very important to me. I was the executive chef for the first 2 years of a walk-around tasting that we're going to be doing in September for SHARE, which is a breast and ovarian cancer support group. And it's a wonderful event, and I hope you'll all buy tickets. It's the third Monday in September, I believe. And it's at Chelsea Piers, and it's all women chefs cooking to raise money for this.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Great. Well, thank you both so much for being here. This has been really
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank
you so much.
Thanks, guys.